This is The End Game is Fashion, and we are Volante Design.
We are Volante Design, Willow Volante and David Volante. Today's episode is called The Devil Wears Sparda.
Willow and I are going to chat about some stuff. We have a bunch of different topics that we'd like to sort of hit in this episode, but the primary conversation is going to be around our Devil May Cry products and how we translate it from the original character design into a wearable piece of clothing. This is sort of our current events segment.
Right. What's happening in the world right now?
Just 2 days ago, Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. Pause? It's funny because like whenever they say pause, it's like,
oh, your favorite video, or your favorite season is on pause for a writer's strike. It's like
no. What I was trying to say was whenever he says the tariffs have been paused, now they're only 10% or now they're only 30%. Like that's not a pause. That's a temporary reduction. It's not paused. We're still paying tariffs.
Lots of them.
And 30% is still a lot.
Yeah.
It's not 145%, but 145% was always insane anyway. It's a made
30%
up.
30% is still pretty insane.
Yeah, but 145 is insane to the point of this feels like a made up number. It's just like this means nothing.
Yeah.
And it cannot stand. Like it literally can't function. So here we are.
I have nothing
with a
nice
90-day pause, and the 90 days is a number of days that is also sounds completely arbitrary because all of this is to say like, do we feel better about the way things are going now than we did before? It's easier for us for some of the things that are coming out soon that are coming from overseas.
But I also think that manufacturers will be slammed trying to fill large rush orders, and there will be a huge amount of pressure to get things in under the blah, blah, blah. And so it's the sort of same spike the stock market, crash the stock market, it's gonna...
The unpredictability and the moving around and all that stuff. No, I don't feel better. I feel like right now we're on an up, but it's not.
It's like the roller
it's not
coaster,
better than it was.
You know it's coming, that dive. Anyway.
Yeah. So it is just we just have to keep our finger on it. And actually, honestly, the more the waves sort of swell, and what's the opposite of swell?
Eddy.
Eddy? No.
Swell and.
Anyway, the more this does this, we have to stay like this. We just have to be like, okay, we have a plan.
Yeah, it's hard.
And maybe we can get this order that within that 90 days, or maybe we don't have to worry about it because by the time 90 days is over,
other new thing will happen. This is a great opportunity to talk very briefly about our New Game Plus sale if you don't know about it.
We're doing what is essentially a warehouse sale.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time where we don't know what's coming in the future, and the easiest way or the best way to position ourselves for that future, whatever it may be, is to have less inventory in stock and to have that inventory be in the bank as cash so that we can use that and be liquid and have the ability to make decisions
based on whatever nonsense happens next. Yeah, that's the shortest way to say it.
It's also, it's the most sort of practical, real way to say it. Like we could talk, this, we want to do it this way or that thing.
Right.
We could try and sugarcoat it, but the fact is, it's easier to have when you have money in the bank. It's better than having, long term in a stable market. It's better to have inventory on the shelves.
Yep.
But in an unstable market where we have to make decisions on the fly, having that be liquid capital is better than.
It gives us the best opportunity to pivot well.
To be honest, we had a plan to do a warehouse sale around this time a while ago.
A much, much smaller one. We were going to do 3 product retirements.
Yeah, we were going to retire a handful of products and use that sort of as an opportunity to shore up our collection, like what they look like and what they are, and think about the future of how those collections are going to be. And sort of, we were going to do something like this, and this is just a massively more extreme version of what we had originally planned.
In a massively more extreme environment.
Yeah. This is our smuggler shirt.
By the time this video airs, it will have just launched.
We have another color scheme as well. And this will be our first product coming out from factory in India.
It's a fair trade factory, and we really like working with them.
It's a RAP certified factory.
Isn't it also fair trade?
This one is not. This one is not fair trade. And even if it is, we're not allowed to say that it is.
Well, why not? Explain that.
Fair trade is a certification that requires a membership to be able to make any claims about.
Yeah.
And
so we would have to be fair trade certified, and that factory would have to be fair trade certified for us to use the words.
And we would have to, we would have to be paying the membership fee, and we would have to be. There's like a whole complicated system around being able to use the label for fair trade. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so highly regarded.
Yeah.
But
they also do a lot to like pay into community. They build community centers
right.
and like do stuff to make sure there's hospitals and etc.
Yeah.
There's like it is a really complex way to support a community, not just to pay fair wages or to make sure that labor practices are
right.
strong and healthy. And so that's.
And so for us, we're still in the process of finding the factory that we want to work with long term, and making sure that the relationship works really well. And if we find, and we are actually, there are a few fair trade factories that we are in contact with, and that are actually making some things for us, or factories that have fair trade certification. But until we know that we are going to be producing a large quantity with that factory, the cost of the membership is a little prohibitive for us. And so we will be working with factories that have these certifications and that have these what is it? Moral.
Well, that basically are set up on a certain ethical standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting to try all these different factories. There are so many things that need to align for them to work well. So they have to be able to produce what we want at a quantity that we want, which is not, some places it's like, I'm sorry, but we won't talk to you unless you want 10,000 units. And we're like, cool, not us. Yep. And so
I found a factory that the minimum order quantity was 20,000 units, and I was like,
for jackets or for what garment?
For jackets, for waterproof jackets, and I was like, cool.
That'd be nice. Well, maybe someday.
Yeah. That's 4 times as many units of total garments we have in the warehouse.
Yeah. They also have to basically speak enough English to be able to be worked with.
They have to be able to hit our timelines.
They have to be able to hit our timelines and communicate well. They have to be able to there are so many ways in which it can kind of fail.
Yep.
The quality has to be great. It's not easy to build a relationship with a factory. It takes a couple of years to really know and believe when they say, oh yeah, we can do that, because they often say, of course, but that's not always the experience.
Yeah.
So
if they respond at all, they often are very positive.
Yes, they often say nice things, and they don't always deliver on the nice things that they say. So this shirt has taken I want to say at least 6 months to come in.
Yep. From the placing of the order.
Right.
So it's been a while.
It has been a while. It was definitely in our Q1 production budget.
Yeah.
So I know it was supposed to be here.
It was supposed to launch
by
in
March
February
or something like that at the latest. So we're in.
But it's worth it.
It's here and it's beautiful.
In the same way that when we got those pants and we showed and Willow ripped them on on camera.
Much to David's chagrin.
Before I had a really good chance to measure and wash them and things like that.
Sorry.
Do some of the other tests, but in that same way,
they work.
It is worth taking the time to get it right. And the second and third order, some of the factories we're working on third orders now, and it's like we just send them the pattern and the order, and they just send us back jackets.
Right. It's getting better.
It gets much easier. The first order is surprisingly difficult.
It is a bit like pulling
even though we've done the first order with a variety of factories, each individual factory takes the same amount of time to get that first thing down.
It's a lot, yeah.
So it's worth it though, because these just came in and it looks and feels amazing. Well, what I wanted to do with this, when we talked about when the idea for the episode, the Devil Wears Sparda, came up, the idea is one, to look at the character designs of our Devil May Cry collection.
Cool.
And talk about how we translated those designs into everyday clothes. But I wanted to start first because when I even start looking at a license, I look at all of the source material of that license, and I look at everything that everything that stands out to me of the character designs and every iteration of that character design. And that helps me sort of get into what's going on.
So are we going to go that deep?
No. We're going to look at Dante.
Okay.
We're going to look at, I would like you to do this because I know I'm interested in hearing sort of what you see when you look at each iteration of Dante.
Cool.
We're going to start with Devil May Cry 1 Dante. I'm actually using photos from Darkside Toy. They made a statue of DMC1 for this that actually has more detail than anything else because the original DMC was on PlayStation 2. And
right. Yeah.
So when you look at that version of Dante, what would you say, like,
what's iconic?
What do you notice?
In the jacket specifically.
In the jacket specifically. But broadly, I would also, yeah.
I noticed the shape of the lapels. They're very classic trench coat shape. I noticed the waistband in the back as the sort of dividing seam for the whole product, or like the whole proportion.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the yoke shape in the back of his, across his shoulders. Those are like the big ones. Obviously, there's a little flare, a little like Spawn jacket action that isn't super realistic for fabric, but it's lovely in a statue. It's cool in a statue.
Yeah.
We can't make it flap in the breeze quite like that.
We do our best.
We do our best, but it's not really how fabric works as much as we would like it to. Yeah, those are the core elements. I see the buckles also from his vest. Obviously, that's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, he's cool.
Sure.
It's fitted, even though it's open.
Which also doesn't work always.
Right. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah, video game fashion choices often do not make real world choices.
Yeah.
That was an elegant sentence.
I think what you mean to say is, unless that jacket is glued to his vest or part of the vest.
Yeah, staple that onto the front of that guy. Like it is.
It zips. The vest zips in. The vest isn't actually all the way around.
I think we should be doing that. Why have we not made a vest bib portion for a jacket?
I've seen that before, like a pea coat that has like a hoodie, a hoodie bib that zips in. Yeah.
It's not too late.
It's not too late. It could be done. No, I think the cuffs.
The cuffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll come back to that.
But because they're black on the underside, I didn't fully register them as cuffs. They kind of look like opera gloves.
Oh, I see. Like he has long black gloves that do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, over the sleeve.
Yeah, like
and
anime
sleeve,
villain.
And it's a short sleeve trench.
I mean, there's got to be an anime villain that has opera gloves like this. Tell me I'm wrong.
I get it. So
please find me the image on the internet.
The next one is.
The next one is DMC2. Is this the reference image you want?
That's it. There's only one reference image of DMC2.
He's very dark.
It was broody as F.
It was broody AF. So what am I noticing? Yeah. I guess I'm noticing.
So this is the evolution of the character.
Yep.
He's much older. I think this is.
He does look older. I don't know.
I think this is him at his oldest in the series. I'm pretty sure.
But he's got like a weird black vest corset over his jacket, which is a weird choice.
Yeah.
And again, we have the Spawn tails.
This is extra Spawn tails.
Yeah, they're like.
Yeah.
It's cape level action.
Yeah. I love that design.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has like a tall collar with two belts on the collar.
Yeah, no, and I think he has a cross belt situation.
And he's got a 3-point harness for his sword. This I think is peak Dante design.
Yeah.
But not necessarily I understand why they went where they went with the character, and you're going to see this now.
Yeah.
But this I think is the most out of character.
This is the most out of character. It's definitely we have villain.
But you still you've got your black flare gloves.
Yes, I do.
They're not the cuffs that are folded up.
Nope, they look much more like gloves because they're also not like I don't think they're fingerless.
Yeah.
The previous version they were kind of they weren't fingerless, but they were really close
little cut
fitting.
Of wrist.
Whereas these don't look so close fitting.
So now.
And these guns are different. I want to say no, they're pretty similar. They look bigger in this version. The DMC guns Like they're chunky.
They had a lot more punch.
They're chunkier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This when you air juggle the enemies using the guns in this, the enemies would rise over time. They wouldn't slowly fall. You were just pushing. You could just push them up above the screen, above the camera didn't go that high, and then you just stop shooting and they'd slowly fall down.
I like the leg harness situation. Cash bag / whatever that is.
Oh yeah, the Naruto.
He also definitely has more
pocket.
pirate. The boots are looking piratier for sure.
So what about 3?
What about 3? Oh, this is a shiny statue.
It is a very shiny statue, but it shows the best detail.
Shiny statue. Oh, that wig is bad. What do I notice? I noticed this ludicrous belt, which is in the worst place of all time for a belt. The low crotch belt with a giant clip.
On the coat.
Yes.
The oversized belt.
Yes.
And belt buckle.
Yes.
Yep.
This has got to be what we're talking like early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were all early 2000s.
If this was a girl costume, there would be like a thong hanging out the back of her pants. I'm telling you, that's what this belt gives me. That's the vibes this belt gives me.
It's not wrong.
I'm sorry, but that's what I read when I see this.
It's not wrong
fashion.
by the female characters.
It's the proportion.
Yeah.
It's the proportion.
It's a little
way
low.
Too low.
It's very low cut, and he's not wearing a shirt underneath his coat.
And that's supposed to be cool, but it kind of looks. Maybe it's just aged badly.
This is prequel. So this is Dante at his youngest.
Yeah, he does look young.
Yeah.
I am digging
it's got more hardware.
The paneling though. Like I think the paneling, the like puffy section is starting to like look more like the Dante I am aware of. And it also says more motorcycle to me. Like it says more. The paneling says that.
Yep.
They have finally folded up his sleeves in a way that makes any sense for a piece of clothing. In that he's only one sleeve folded up, and it is red on the underside instead of being a black.
You better not call that out as a bad thing.
I don't mind that but it's like clear what it is. It reads clearly as a piece of clothing that I understand how the physics of it could work.
Right.
The built-in harness is interesting.
The harness it clips. It goes through the jacket.
But why does it? Oh, it does. It clips through the jacket.
I think it intentionally clips. Yeah, like it's on his chest.
Oh, yeah. No, it is definitely clipping.
The straps are on his chest.
I thought you meant it clips like it's a bug.
Yeah, no, it's part of the design.
Yeah, but the fact that they cross is bonkers in the back.
Yeah.
Do they cross a lot when you move as the character in the?
I don't know if they did physics on it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That was I think the last PS2 one.
Now we have fingerless gloves. I'm on board for the fingerless gloves.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm on board for his pants too, and his shoes.
The pants are definitely more moto pants.
Yeah, they are. They definitely look like leather, but maybe the statue is just really, really shiny.
Yeah, no, I think they were supposed to be leather.
And he's got cool boots.
Yep.
I would wear these boots.
Yep.
If anyone is asking.
He rode a motorcycle in that game.
It kind of shows.
Yeah.
But I would wear your shirt if you're gonna wear a motorcycle. It's not a good idea.
Next. DMC4.
Ooh, his shoulders are so large. That's what sticks out for first.
Yep.
Now he's got bell bottoms and chaps. What are we doing? What is the story continuity? And he has a huge fuck off belt buckle.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, I know.
How did we go from here to there? I was like, this evolution I understood.
Yeah.
And now we're
we're
like doing Western?
1 to 3 or 3 to 1 to 4 to
This
5
is the game people don't
to
like.
2. No, you don't play as Dante in this game.
Oh.
Or at least not as a primary.
Also, his head is too small. His head is much too small. It's so small.
It is. It
makes his shoulders look enormous.
Yeah.
And his head is.
But that helps. That helps push the cowboy vibe of the shoulder details.
Does it? And he has like a Sauron sword. Like, what are we doing?
He does have the Sauron sword. Yeah. So this one, DMC4 is the one that I don't like.
Okay. But it's the one that people like.
I think people really liked it because it was the last good one before 5.
I played 5.
You played the reboot. We're not even looking at the reboot because I know I don't need to go there. But I also love the reboot. So, but anyway.
But isn't the reboot 5?
No.
What's the reboot of?
The reboot came in after 4.
Okay.
But it's not called DMC5. That's called Devil May Cry. It's called DMC Devil May Cry.
And
Most of the time
I'm lost.
when you when you abbreviate DMC, it's all capitals.
Yeah.
But the reboot, it's big D, little M, big C.
Devils may cry.
Devil may cry.
Devil may cry. Like what?
It was produced by a UK group, actually the same developers that made Hellblade and other games, but it's not Japanese developed. Anyway, so that's separate. We're not looking
at that. So Capcom doesn't own Devil May Cry? They own Devil May Cry.
They do, but obviously they're not going back there because there was enough backlash on it.
It was bad?
No, I don't think it was bad. I just don't think obviously to go from this Dante
I'm confused.
to what they ended up doing.
And like, what's up with his shoes? Does he have like embroidery on the bottom of his
chaps? And they are like cowboy
heavily
chaps.
Embroidered with weird like feathers or something. I can't quite see. Yeah, that's a move.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
It's a choice. Do we do 5?
Yeah, we can do 5, although I don't actually think that's the 5 design.
It's not.
Cool, that's fine. We don't have a 5 design here, but you've seen it plenty.
I have. I think
in 5, so anyway.
But 5 is like a return in some way to like classic trench coat.
It does. I think it manages to combine all but 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see 3 and 1 clearly.
Yep.
And a little bit of 4. Maybe there were some interesting panels.
There was some interesting sort of
4,
cowboy
they were sort
stuff.
of trying around with that, playing around with that.
Yeah. So I think in 4, I think 5 takes 1, 3, and 4 and sort of mashes them together. So you end up with a motorcycle-themed traditional trench coat, and then and then he also wears a cowboy hat sometimes.
Yeah.
And so he's got some cowboy vibe in him, and I don't know why they decided that was the direction to go for cool Dante.
Well, the boots are kind of neat. Like they are definitely a little more cowboy.
Yeah.
But not so far over into
kind of moto cowboy thing.
Interesting combo.
Yeah.
Interesting mashup. Video games are shameless about stealing weird stuff and putting it together, which I like.
Yeah. So
yeah. Why did you make the choices?
So 5's design combines those elements. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, the black underside of the cuff is actually part of the sort of iconic original Dante design and the sort of black accents to it. And I know in DMC5, his character design, he wears black underneath the red coat, and that's part of the overall visual of the character.
Yeah.
And so when I know I'm designing a coat for a license, I have to look at the whole character design and figure out how I can get that whole character design into one garment, because I don't know that we're gonna, we're not always gonna, we're not making replicas. Right. We're making something that feels like the character. And so if we only make a replica of one of the pieces of clothing that they wear, there isn't always enough of the character's identity in that one piece.
Cool. That makes sense.
And so bringing in those sort of black interior elements, the sort of what he's got, like the black turtleneck underneath, like that's in the inside of the collar.
Yeah. Well, and you definitely have like some belt represented, but it's a little like you don't have it right around the butt in the same way. It's higher, which I think is much more flattering as a shape.
Right.
But you do not. Does that wacky clasp closure in some way with the widening of the belt line?
Yeah, and the waistband in DMC5, it does like a really weird, like from the back center, it does this shape, and it's all quilted, and that would just look, and it's at the height that it is in the character design. It's fine when you're playing the game because the coat's flapping around all the time and it's moving, but you're not standing around like you would in real life.
Yeah.
It's just in the exact wrong spot to have quilting
on your butt.
Yeah. Like it's just the wrong shape, and then
nobody needs extra butt padding.
Yeah, and so I nixed that, but I didn't get rid of it completely because of the way the pockets sort of tie into that shape. Mm-hmm. So it's still there. So like those are the sorts of things that I look at. Yeah. There's also like awkwardly small zipper pockets in the wrong angle, like the wrong angles in the wrong places.
So you wanted to put some really bad pockets in?
No,
not really.
I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
I looked at those and I said, those are useless and they don't do much. They add to the motorcycle jacket vibe because motorcycle jackets always have like
A couple weird
a
pockets.
couple of weird zipper pockets, like big chunky zipper pockets. But to me, that was one of the details that I felt like it's not necessary. I can't find a way to put this in here in this way where it's actually going to be useful or accessible, like as a pocket.
Yeah.
So it's a waste of detail.
Talk to me about the back V. It feels like a
That
choice.
I think on the character design, it's like more it's like more wavy. It kind of does like a S shape down. And that, when I was looking at that, I was like, that's cool. It's something we could do, but you end up when on your actual back, it's going to, like, if it's fitted nicely and it sits, it's going to do some of that S curve.
Gotcha. Yeah, it does.
But it doesn't. So it doesn't need to be built into the seam line.
Yeah, got it.
You can have this sort of straight seam that feels a little bit more, I don't know. It's a little less overstated.
Yeah.
Which is saying something on a giant red trench coat.
Big red trench coat. Yeah.
This design, whenever, we remember back when we were thinking of even making it, it was like, can we make a giant red trench coat? Like a big red coat?
The answer is yes.
And we were a little worried about it.
We were.
Yeah. Especially because the shoulders are enormous. Like,
Talk to me about, do you remember when we started the first Devil May Cry coat we ever made, which was not licensed because we're bad people. No, because we're small and
we didn't even know that licensing would ever be available to us.
No, we had no clue. I think we launched it in January. I just remember the first week we sold 4 and I was like ready to cry because we had no.
It took a while for it to find its stride.
Yeah, we had no backup. It was like, okay, this doesn't work.
Yeah, we were known only as Assassin's Creed inspired clothing, and then we made a big coat that was expensive and had no hood, and people were like, "What?
It doesn't.
You only make you make Assassin's Creed stuff, and anything you make has to have a hood because of that."
It turned out to be one of our best sellers of the year, but it was a slow burn.
But it took a long time.
It was scary as hell.
Yeah,
that was a great coat, by the way.
And then this ended up being our best seller of the year in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Of launching it. So.
Well, that's the difference between licensed and unlicensed. Sometimes is that it can really take, like the license, if you have a good partnership, can really like get it in front of the right people much faster.
Yeah.
Great. When are we going to make a harness / holster that goes with this? I think we kind of have.
We just made the battle sling.
That's true. Would that fit under this?
Under it?
Well, under the flaps.
Oh, no. I did wear this. I have worn this with the
stealth kit under the flaps.
Yeah, but we could. I could put on a battle sling. We could try it, but it's not really. Our setup is not built for trying
things on. No, it's true.
Someday maybe we might have multiple cameras, and then we might be able to do a tall standing camera. That'd be cool.
One day at a time.
That's why this is episode 0.
Yeah. Cool. You want to move on to Nero?
Yeah.
We do have a Nero restock coming in June for those of you who are looking for that. It's very exciting. It will come back in black and blue, I think.
Yep.
So.
It's been a while since we've gotten it in black.
It's great to have him back because this is like a great, super versatile street wearable design. We don't have the whole history of Nero. We're not going to.
We're not going to go through the whole history of Nero.
I think our code is pretty true to the version that's here.
Basically, it's
pretty close.
Yeah, the only thing that I think the only major detail that is removed is the front buckles because they're
the breast buckles. Yeah, there's the hip buckle is there, but across the chest.
Yeah, the rib buckles are there, the straps are there, all the quilting is all part of it. The corduroy on the inside of the hood, but he's got over his like zipper is like 3 buckles that would have to be custom. And they require 3 rivets for each side.
And when are you going to buckle your front buckles closed?
No.
Not practical.
That is, I thought, of all of the details, like that is the one detail that makes it costumey.
Yeah. But you do still have the like seams across the front.
Yeah.
To show that like we know and we left it out. We know and we chose something different.
Yeah.
Why do people love Dante? Why do people love Nero? Why
The
is
Nero or Nero the character?
Nero the character? Because people have been asking us for Nero for a long time, and I'm like, why do people love that character?
That's such a I don't know that I have a really good answer for that. He is.
Is he like the younger brother who's like mad all the time? Is that not right?
Yeah.
Or the younger cousin? Genealogy is not my strong suit.
He is more or less Virgil's son.
Right. That's kind of what I thought. He's got the white hair. He's wearing blue.
Yes.
We understand the
when he's
mythological
introduced in
lineage
DMC4, he's wearing red and blue because he's kind of Dante and Virgil as a combined character. He's not from a genealogical perspective. He's not the son of Dante and Virgil.
Too bad.
But he's the good guy. He's the Dante character, Dante stand-in character in terms of like we're introducing a new character that's kind of a prick and kind of a cool guy and has white hair and like he does all the Dante stuff, but he's younger.
Yeah. He's the younger version of Dante.
Yeah, he's the new and improved.
Copy.
Except that you can't improve on Dante. Dante just goes more cowboy.
Which we've already discussed may not be an improvement.
So there's that. So that original character design sort of combines the good guy hero red.
Yeah.
And by hero, I mean like Japanese story hero.
Yeah.
And then it combines the blue from Virgil. So that's sort of what's going on with his character design. Why do people love him?
Why do people love this broody dude? What is it about the broody guys that people love? Maybe that's a psychology question that we may not want to get into.
I don't know. I don't know why people love him. He's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he looks cool. I get that. He's got some scars, some tattoos. He's got a huge fuck-off sword.
He's more approachable
we can all understand
than Dante.
The symbolism there.
He's more approachable than Dante has like ever been, really.
Yeah.
He's a little bit more of a regular. I don't want to say regular guy. Like it's just Dante's
you
like.
You could have a beer with him.
Yeah, of all the guys, you could have a beer with him. Dante would sit there and be like, "Nah, I don't drink." Like, yeah. And you'd be like, "Okay, why did you invite me to this bar? Why do you invite me to this bar then?" Like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's anyway. And Virgil.
Virgil's the OG bad dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what when you look at Virgil's design, like what stands out to you and why like what do you think we need to get out of it when we look at Virgil?
Yeah. It's all about the buttons, baby. It's all about the buttons. It's about these placket fold backs. It's about the cuff buttons. It's a little bit about the embroidery / collar shape. But like he's given me like obviously this is all through the lens of a Japanese studio, but he's given me like a little bit Russian, a little bit like like the Bolshevik riding horseback kind of
interesting
set of the Russian cavalry. Like I think it's the cool like the cold looking coat. I think that gives me that, and this sort of militaristic vibe of his fit. And then like the vest under it is weird. It's a very weird. Like it's got all these panels. They don't look like they're like fish scales in some weird way. But again, it sort of speaks to a weird interpretation. And if you're looking at Japanese interpretations of myths or like archetypes from different from cultures, they're always interpreted a little weird. I think that's kind of normal. I think again, it says military. It says structured. This is like
he's the sleek.
This is your aloof senpai. Like this is not.
He uses a katana, which
makes no sense.
Which in comparison, it doesn't make sense with the references that you're getting out of it. But in comparison to the big fuck off swords and the guns,
it's precise.
Exactly. It's precise. It's clean. It's traditional.
Right. It's extremely well. In the military stuff, kind of fits that.
Yeah.
That vibe. That like. Why make many cuts when you can make
efficient.
one excellent? Got it. You behead your enemy in one slash. Yeah. You don't mess around with a giant sword.
The straps on his sleeve, to me, like that kind of thing, and also the embroidery that has all the sort of
Faces, sort of.
the faces, the
Slash
thorns.
rose
It's like
thorns,
rose
yeah.
thorns.
Yeah.
All like this. I think the stripes. The fact that there's 3 on each sleeve and they're long, sort of.
This design has 4, but
Does it have 4?
yeah.
Okay, that's a fan art piece.
This is a fan art piece for sure.
To me, it's just that it sort of represents his like 100 cuts sort of weapons. Like he has all these swords, and they like whenever he uses one sword, but he is very fast with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you end up with this like, and that's.
Well, I'm not sure how much of this is the fan art, but he has a great jawline.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are like
the core elements. Yeah, and you made this coat very straight. Like there is not a lot of.
Yeah, it's a straight
swoosh.
coat.
It
has the double
trench.
vent in the back so that you can wear your katana underneath the coat and have it coming out the back in between the vents.
Because you planned for things like that.
Well, because they planned for things like that. So that's one of the details that I think was important.
Cool.
And I think going back to the Nero, the thing that was most important to get out of that was this is a casual coat.
Yeah.
He's a casual dude. He's not. There's a lot of detail, but at the same time, it feels comfortable.
Yeah. No, it is slouchier.
It's a little slouchier. It doesn't have the same sort of pretension that Virgil has, and it doesn't have the bombast of Dante.
Yep.
And I think that's part of why people like the Nero so much.
Yeah.
Maybe not the character, but the Nero, like the coat.
Yeah, it is a little like easier.
It's funny whenever I put people in the Nero, like at a convention, like it's almost like putting them in a hacker. Like it's that kind of coat, but it's also a long coat. It manages to be a long coat, but not feel like a long coat.
Yeah, not feel like
really cool.
Too much.
Yeah.
Although you know when you've got someone who wants.
Well, when you want a long coat, you want a long coat.
You want a long coat. You want red. You want drama. So
yeah,
that's clear too. Great. Well, thanks. Yeah, it's interesting to hear your thoughts because like we do some things in parallel and we don't even necessarily get the time to.
I don't always get the time to talk your ear off about it.
Yeah.
But now we're talking multiple people's ear off. It feels like
I love it.
There's an intent. There's a purpose.
Great.
This was really fun.
Yeah. It's different. It's a different way to do this for sure. This is called The Endgame is Fashion.
Yes.
And I will probably say it in a silly way every time.
This has been The Real Endgame is Fashion. Stay badass.